How you doing, everybody? I'm Jim Ladd. Welcome to the show. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here for SiriusXM's Artist Confidential with the Beach Boys. You know, in this day and age, when pop stars have the longevity of disposable lighters, it's almost inconceivable that anyone could be celebrating a half-century of music. But make no mistake, this is not simply about nostalgia. This is about a vibrant, creative band who are not only hitting the road with their 50th anniversary reunion tour, they're also releasing a brand new album. Yeah, go ahead. You are about to meet one of the most iconic and respected musical forces in all of rock and roll. It is my great pleasure to introduce you to Brian Wilson, Mike Love, Al Jardine, Bruce Johnson, and David Marks. Ladies and gentlemen, the Beach Boys.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Unfortunately, my partners couldn't make it tonight, so I'll be doing all the harmonies. And come on, you guys.
Come on now.
You guys. Oh, man. Oh, boy.
Well, welcome, gentlemen. Good to have you here. Good to see you. First off, let me start with getting Bruce settled down, because God knows that's what I heard was the big problem here. So, you okay? All right. First, let me just say congratulations on 50 years of making music and bringing joy to millions of people like me all over the world. I just want to know what your thoughts are about surviving this ride for half a century.
It's pretty miraculous, actually.
I would think so.
To still have people want to play your music on the radio 50 years after you started.
Wow. And to have it sound so good on the radio 50 years after it started.
Well, that's mainly Brian's fault.
We've had a lot of practice. We've had 50 years of practice. We're going to be pretty good singers.
There you go.
Yeah, okay.
That's good.
Amen. Well, let's, you know, and I'll tell you, when I got to listen to about 5 tracks from this new CD. And your vocal work, all of you, it's stunning. I mean, that, you know, the harmonies are there, but it's just stunning. You can do this so well after all this time, practice or no. So give yourselves a round of applause for that, because wait till you hear this. That first track is like some sort of modern Gregorian chant thing that's going on. It was just fantastic. Anyway, tell us about the Beach Boys anniversary reunion tour. How do you feel about going back on the road together?
Well, it's going to be awesome. We've got a great band put together, and we've got we've got more songs that we can possibly do in one evening. So we'll be rotating them in and out, I think, over the next few weeks and months. And we're not only in the United States, but we're going to Europe and Japan and a couple other places. So, you know, it's pretty wacky.
Excellent.
50 years later to be going all over the world.
And how long has it been since this combination has been on stage together?
1929.
Really?
Actually, about 20 years.
Al, I understand you're the only one that was actually there in 1929. I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Uh-huh.
That's great. Yeah.
Okay, why?
We did a project together called Stars and Stripes, which was us being the background singers for a bunch of country acts.
Yeah.
You know, like Lori Morgan did Don't Worry Baby, and Willie Nelson did The Warmth of the Sun. Toby Keith, Be True to Your Skull. Yeah. So that was the last time we were together on an album project. So we have a new album project now, as you pointed out.
Boy, you do. And let me just cut right to the most important thing I wanted to ask you about. The song. What, pardon me? Money. Well, it's always important. I love the song, That's Why God Made the Radio. Obviously, I would love this song. What inspired this one?
You know, actually, Joe Thomas and I came up with the concept, and it took us a couple weeks to develop the song. Finally got it developed and we recorded it.
And is radio still a personal medium to you guys? You still find it a magical and kind of intimate medium that we all try to make it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bruce, come on, participate.
Bruce.
What?
Don't say so.
Radio? Wait. I am addicted to SiriusXM.
There you go.
Are you kidding? Songs sounded so great on AM, when you're younger. FM got even better, but FM goes, you go around. Sirius, you never lose the signal, and you have about 7,000 channels to pick from, so I'm a SiriusXM guy. All right.
Yeah.
Amen. I'm gonna get a call from my boss going, Bruce was pretty good on the air, Jim. That's all I need, because I ain't gonna be able to replace you, but you could be doing what I'm doing in about 5 minutes. Mike, or I'll tell you what, I'll just throw this out to whoever wants to answer this. How has the creative process evolved from when you guys first started recording?
Well, they have electricity now. I don't know.
Batteries ran down.
It used to be we recorded these sounds for 409, the revving up and the burning of rubber of the 409 outside of the Wilson's house in Hawthorne, California, with a tape recorder. Then we went to 2-track, then we went to 4-track, then we went to 8-track, and then 16-track, and then I don't even know how many tracks there are these days. There's an infinite
72.
capability. Yeah, infinite capability practically of doing anything. So the technology's definitely grown.
But what about the creative process within the band, the songwriting, how you take a new song and mold it into something, as a finished piece? Has that changed at all?
Has it changed?
Yes.
The only way it's changed is we're lower, so we don't move quite as quick. So we're 50% behind.
I see. If you drop something now, you have to think about it.
The chemistry is there. Whenever we get together, we pick up where we left off. The chemistry, the Beach Boy bubble is there when we get together. And it's just like it always has been with the creativity, the forces. It's like any band, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones. It's the chemistry that really counts, our personalities.
This is David Marks, who joined the band when he was 13. Thank you.
Well, that was kind of by default. I lived across the street from Brian and his two brothers. And they just kind of adopted me as a brother, so I was in the band by default.
Wait a minute. Hold on to the mic. I got a question for you. I want you to paint a picture of Southern California in the mid-'60s and how it's changed today.
Well, I remember the tallest building was City Hall downtown. Now you can't even see it. There was a lot more smog then because each house had its own incinerator in the backyard, and they would burn their trash.
I do remember that.
So the air was a lot cleaner. But it was a romantic time. We had streetcars.
Right.
I remember in high school, we kind of scrounged around for $1 so we could get 4 gallons of gas to go out.
Yeah, 16 cents a gallon when I was a little boy. And it was a romantic time with the surfers, and everybody across the country dreamt about being, at the beach in California.
I wanted to be more romantic than I was actually capable of being at that time.
They have pills for that nowadays.
Yeah, right.
No, I don't mean that. I was capable, just not.
I see. I understand. Al, let me ask you a question. Get you in here.
No more old jokes.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Well, we don't have any new ones.
David was. Bada bing, ladies and gentlemen. Try the veal. Tip your waitress and try the veal. David was mentioning about the surfing culture spreading across the world. You guys didn't invent the culture, but you sure did bring it to everybody. What did you think about the first time you saw some kid from Iowa sporting a surfer haircut and riding a skateboard? Did that kind of blow your mind knowing that the Beach Boys did that?
Well, I guess so. We did our first Midwest tour, Dave was 63, something like that. And I don't know if skateboards made it out quite that early.
Yeah.
They started out on the West Coast, kind of made their, whatever, to the east.
Right.
But, yeah, I do remember that our influence, it just seemed like Denny Wilson was our drummer, obviously, you know, our brother and drummer. And he was definitely the surfer guy. You know, he was the gnarly guy. He's the one that brought the idea to sing about surfing to us in the first place. And I think kids emulated him a lot, you know, with the jeans, the white jeans,
The
the
white
the long
jeans.
tree, you know, the
white jeans.
Pendletons. That's right. We had the early Pendletons in those days, and yeah, it was kind of cool. It was a very laid back kind of thing, and that's what we first noticed. I think was a change in style.
Yeah,
What's
people
that?
wanted
Go
to
ahead.
emulate that.
Another thing, it wasn't only surfboards, but a lot of the kids started getting Stratocasters after they saw us. You know, I constantly have people come up to me and say, "You started me on the guitar."
Oh, great.
That was kind of a cool thing too.
Fender Stratocaster. Brian, you know, when I was, I think, more excited to hear about the new album even than the tour.
Well, the only way I could describe it is called a mellow reversion back to the 65 or 66, with a little bit of 2012.
And are you guys still as excited by new music and happy to, you know that you got something new? Yeah.
You know, this album, every cut, when you hear it, it feels like you're driving down the coast in a convertible.
Yeah.
And it's it's Beach Boy identifiable.
Well, I can't wait to spend some time with the whole thing because what I've heard of it, it's just extraordinary. It really
It's pretty
is.
remarkable when you're in the studio and you hear it played back on the speakers,
Yeah.
and it sounds just like it's like sonic deja vu.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
just like it ever was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce, I've heard this story about you. Well, I heard many stories about you, Bruce, but one that I can tell in public is that, and tell me if this is true. You're in London in 1966. You know where I'm going with this?
I sure do.
And you get an acetate of Pet Sounds.
Actually, I wound up, Pet Sounds hadn't been released in Europe, and I went over with 2 American copies of Pet Sounds, and I kind of became great buddies with Keith Moon, and he put together an evening with Lennon and McCartney, and we played Pet Sounds, and they made me play it again. This is one of those times when Don't Shoot the Messenger works out, you know, and they kind of distilled the vibe from the album into the Revolver track Here, There, and Everywhere. You know, it was quite a thing, and I think Paul McCartney to this day says God Only Knows is his favorite song.
Well, speaking of Sir Paul, you cut to this year's Grammy Awards, however many years later this is, and apparently Paul McCartney was spotted dancing and clapping along while you guys rehearsed Good Vibrations. So that must, and I think my question with this is, how much does it mean to you that some of your most ardent admirers are your peers?
You know, it was mind-blowing to me. I had never met Paul, and he was at the rehearsal for the Grammys, and I can remember walking through the hallway, through the crowds, hearing my name being called out. And I turn around, and it's Paul McCartney with his hand out. It was David. We finally get to meet. And, you know, that was, my heart just, it was great.
It's
He's
nice.
just a great down-to-earth guy, really, is what he is.
Well, that's always nice to hear, and I just think
Yeah, he owns the earth.
Exactly. Yeah, it's easy to be cool when you own the planet. That's fine.
It's easy to be down to earth then.
Let me do this. Let's start at that end and then start handing the mic down as I ask you this question. What is the best thing to come out of this 50th anniversary reunion so far?
So far, we've got to be together and practice music together and get a good love going between.
Reminds me of a song you sang called "We're Together Again."
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah.
You guys remember that one? Kind of cool. You don't remember it. Together again, darling. Yeah, it's cool. Well, it's nice to hear the guys singing again. You know, this is kind of a while there when we weren't harmonizing. You know, so to hear that recognizable Brian Wilson falsetto, that nice edge he's got in his voice, and Mike's great baritone, David's great guitar work, and Bruce's incredibly high voice, wherever he got that from. I can't, most of us can't sing in those great upper registers like we used to, but the quality's there and the friendship is there, and I think it's going to show itself in the music.
Before you answer that question, one more quick one. Was it hard to find that thing again, or did you just walk in and the sound was there?
Not at all, because I think Brian, when he's structuring harmonies, he thinks, okay, this is where Mike's going to sing, this is where Al's going to sing, this is where Bruce is going to sing, this is where I'll sing. You know, so it's kind of natural, because we've been doing this since we were children, Brian and I. You know, we're about a little over a year apart from each other, and the whole Wilson Love family thing was based on music,
Right.
and all the get-togethers. So it's just so natural for us to do what we do. But it's also kind of miraculous that we're able to do it, and that Capitol Records believes in this configuration enough to put out a record by us and give us the opportunity to get together again.
Well,
so it's a blessing.
They should, because the world needs to hear this, and you don't want to miss this. I'm glad you're not missing this opportunity. So, Mike, for you, what is the best thing to come out of this 50th anniversary so far?
I think just being together and being able to be in harmony with each other. And we're the kings of harmony.
Amen.
You know, and that's always been the thing that distinguished the Beach Boys from many other sounds on the radio, is the complex harmonies. It's a function of loving the Everly Brothers and all the doo-wop music, with Brian becoming an aficionado of the Four Freshmen, which gave us that even more sophisticated harmony, I guess, is one word you could use for it. But it's a very special blend, and not everybody can do it. And I think we're able to create that blend and that beautiful harmony together. So when you hear it back in the studio, it's like, wow, that's cool. I'm glad to be a part of it. And I just wanted to say that there's this song that you've heard, and that we'll play a little later this evening, called "That's Why God Made the Radio." And I was remembering in the studio, listening to it and just singing it, and even singing that title, you know, itself. The whole concept of the song is just so special.
Amen. Amen. It was to me when I heard it. And again, you know, it touched my heart. But when you want to, if I can just say, listen to some complex, intricate, nobody on the planet can do these kind of harmonies. That first track I heard was, you know, unbelievable. It's that kind of chanting thing that you did was just insanely good. David, what do you got to say for yourself? What's the best thing that's happened so far?
For me, this is more like a family reunion. The Wilsons took me in as a brother when I was very young. My voice was changing when we made those first 5 or 6 albums that I was on with and it kind of cracked a little bit. And Brian gave Dennis and I the same part to sing on the records, so Dennis and I sang unison. But for me right now, to sing with these guys as a man and to be able to sing along with them is really special to me.
How nice that the circle has been complete.
It has.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a miracle. The Beach Boys have truly been blessed, I think.
Yeah. Bruce?
I think being with my great friends explains good vibrations and the meaning, and it's really great to be here.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Brian Wilson, Al Jardine, Mike Love, David, and Bruce. Give them a round of applause.
Thank you all.
The Beach Boys!